All right. Thank you so much, Katie. I appreciate the introduction. My computer screen just went blank. All right. Should be coming up again. There. Okay. So again, good morning. My name is Jennifer Anderson. I have just a really cool jam-packed workshop for you guys today in terms of what coaching is, what coaching looks like, a little bit about my background, a little bit about why I'm here today, and also it will give you the opportunity to leave this room today with some tools in hand in how to approach difficult conversations in the firehouse, okay? I know that some of the content, some of the conversations we're going to have today might be a little bit uncomfortable, but the only way to grow is through those uncomfortable, difficult conversations. I'm also going to do my best. There are some images of text messages that might be hard to read, just in the interest of making sure everyone can see them. I will probably read a couple of them out loud just to make sure, because I don't know if you'll be able to see all the way from the back. But again, real quickly, my name is Jennifer Anderson, and it's not working. There it goes. Okay. So being in Massachusetts is a special place in my heart. My former husband was a police officer in Leominster, Mass. Obviously, most of us know Leominster, Mass. He got on the force in 2004. And he was, when I say the poster child for law enforcement, he literally was in a number of ways. One, I knew going into the relationship, he was a criminal justice major at Fitchburg State, right? And was really excited about the career opportunities ahead of him. He'd wanted to be a police officer for as long as he could imagine. And I know we joke now that he took the wrong test because we're in a room full of firefighters, right? But ultimately, he loved the job. He loved the job. And I loved being a spouse of someone who loved the job, okay? Going to events. We actually don't have many pictures, which is ironic, right? You think of how proud we were of the commitment he made to the city of Leominster. But here are just a couple, how baby, right? Babies, having babies. And sure enough, our daughters, they were so proud. We would go to the station every shift and bring McDonald's and sit in the parking lot and just sit and eat with him until he got a phone, until he got a call and had to run out. But it was still challenging, right? There were still challenges. We loved the position. We loved the job. And again, I'm sorry, this is hard to read. Some text messages here, right? Had an arrest. I'm into training. Call me. And I said, so that's a no, because he's at a call. He's in doing training, right? So obviously communication was difficult, right? I had a rough day. I'm sorry you had a rough day. I'll call as soon as I can, right? We have those challenges in this first responder relationships. It's nights like these that really make me hate his choice. I struggled. We all struggle with the decisions of this first responder world, right? Stay safe out there. People were so supportive, of course, because they don't always know, right? Your friends, oftentimes your family, they don't really know what the job entails, okay? So I got a lot of support, of course, right? Sorry, this is Kevin here. Sorry, baby. This is me. Would you have me any other way? No, right? No, of course I wouldn't, right? But those are the conversations we had, right? Hi, please be safe. I love you. Please read my texts. We had read receipts on. Like the second I learned that you could do read receipts, I was like, okay, put those suckers on. And I made him promise me that he would always read my texts. Whether or not he could respond, I didn't care. Read the freaking text so I know you're alive. Might sound dramatic, but right, that's what was important to us, okay? I read that police went to serve a warrant, right? Guy shot at them. Please let me know you're okay. As a spouse of someone sitting on the other end of that situation, waiting to hear from him, it was a challenging time. Absolutely. But again, to say that he loved the job is an understatement. Okay? When I say he was a poster child for the city of Leominster, he was the poster child of the city of Leominster. He actually was asked to be part of the campaign to promote the city of Leominster, right? He loved that job. About 13 years in, I noticed some changes, right? I noticed that he was turning to alcohol. He'd bring home a case and he'd sit there and he'd just pound them. I'm like, no. We're not doing that, right? Had conversations. What can we do? Right? After critical incidences like this one, that was the one that I mentioned in the text message, that a guy had barricaded himself into a house and had shot at the officer trying to come through the front door, right? Luckily he missed. However, right? I knew things were starting to weigh on him. I knew that every time he put the uniform on, that he was going to be gaining some weight on his shoulders. Whether you call it your fuck it bucket, right? Whether you call it weight, whatever that might look like for you, every shift puts a little bit of weight on your shoulders, right? And we have to make sure we're mitigating that weight after every shift, after every call, right? And we weren't doing that. So his original diagnosis of PTSD happened in 2015. Okay. And at that point, we were able to access some resources. We got him into Onsite Academy. I'm sure many of you have heard of Onsite. If you have an opportunity to even just visit, please do. He did some EMDR work. Raise your hand. Do you guys know what EMDR is? Yep. Okay. All right. So a lot of people in the room. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. EMDR is an amazing support for people who are experiencing traumas. I'm not going to get too into the weeds, but when you experience something traumatic, the memory stays in the frontal lobe of the brain, and that's why it causes why triggers happen, right? Smell, a taste, a sound, the way the light comes through the window. Okay? He experiences EMDR in 2015, and after that, it's like, I'm cured! And I was like, well, we'll see how this goes, right? And we continued on the process of him on the job. Then one of his brothers committed suicide. A guy that he had worked with for many, many years. A guy that he trusted, he cherished. And obviously that was a challenge for him to process. Okay. 2 years later, in 2017, he suffered a mental health break that led to a 6-week hospitalization. We went from the poster child for the city of Leominster to a shell of a human being. This is New Year's of 2018. Do you want to go back? This guy. Oh, this guy, right? That guy. You can see. Keep going the wrong way, sorry. Come on. You can see how different that human being is, right? Shell. Our daughters were 7 and 10 at the time. This is a text message from him shortly after his mental health break. Okay, try to focus, be present in the moment. Listen, he was going to the gym, use the weight, focus on your heartbeat. And yet all he was thinking about was his friend who had committed suicide. So I saw, as a spouse, we see, we know, right? We identify, we know what's happening. The people around us, our friends, our family, can identify that there are challenges that are weighing on someone, right? So initially, just a very long story short, in 2018, I was able to get him into a partial program. First day of partial program, he was put on 7 different medications. 7 different medications. By day 3 of the partial program, he starts talking about being in law enforcement. Now, this is a general pop partial program. Sure enough, there's a woman in this partial program who targets him, saying, "You're the reason my baby was taken away from me." He's like, "I don't know who you are, lady." And ultimately spirals and continues to spiral. By day 4, he couldn't contract for safety. Obviously, he was just a disaster. I went to pick him up at the partial program, and I was so incredibly grateful. They told me that there was a bed at McLean. And McLean, ranked #1 best mental health hospital in the country, right? So I go to pick him up at the partial program, and he is literally sitting in a chair rocking himself because he was incapable of adulting. He was incapable of being, he was just a ball of mush. This is my January of 2018, okay? Got him into the program, the trauma ward at McLean. He was there for 2 weeks. Transferred him to the leader program. Incredible program, guys. Incredible opportunities there. If you have a chance to visit, talk to someone, please do so. After that, he got transferred back to on-site for a few weeks. He was at on-site again doing EMDR work, right? And lots of other work there. And so after that, he started to learn what it was like to be an adult again, to human again, to understand time, right? The frontal lobe is responsible for executive functioning skills, understanding consequences of decisions, right? And he had to relearn how to tell time. I mean, he knew to tell time, but he didn't have a concept of what time was and how to prepare. I didn't leave him alone with our daughters for more than 6 months because I didn't trust, I didn't know, right? So he'd come home for a week, he'd go back to on-site for a week, he'd come home for a couple of weeks, he'd go back to on-site for a week, he'd come home for a month, he'd go back, right? You're seeing this trend. So meanwhile, I'm sitting here going, what am I doing? How am I doing, right? 6 months after his hospitalization, I start having PVCs. I'm a 38-year-old woman. Why am I having PVCs? This shouldn't be, I don't understand. Go to the cardiologist. She's like, well, what's your stress like, honey? And I was like, let me tell you about stress. That's funny. High school English teacher. I was at Leominster High School, ironies of life, right? So we used to joke around that if I didn't reach the kids at the high school level, that at some point he would, right? Unfortunately, and that did happen, but those are stories for another time. So I'm trying to hold it together, to be the wife that he needs me to be the mom for our children who have dance, right? And they've got activities in school and life is happening still. And I get a phone call from a former student saying, hey, I am working with an organization that's doing coaching, life coaching, and I think I wanted to reach out. I heard things have been tough for you. Would you be interested? And I'm like, life coaching? Okay, like, sure, whatever that is, right? But I engaged in it because I needed something. I'd gone to a therapist who was not culturally competent. She had no clue what it was like to be a first responder spouse. I was consoling her. Like, we have those stories where, I'm telling stories about our family life and our situation, and she is not culturally competent, right? I was trying to do it on my own. It was really tough. I needed something. I'd been asking admin. I'd been asking union. I went to the wives. I created a wives spouse club years before. Guys, help me. And all of them were like, sorry. Nope, sorry. There were 150 sworn men and women on that Leominster police force when he was hospitalized in 2018. To this day, only 2 have ever reached out. 2. Why? Right? We all know why. Because it's a mirror, right? That's a mirror we don't want to look into. So I was desperate for support. I turned to coaching. I did a 12-week coaching program with a gentleman named Bob Proctor. An incredible, life-altering opportunity for me to work with this program. I set some goals for myself. I set some goals for our family. And I crushed them in 12 weeks because I needed something to hold on to. Okay. Shortly after, I, again, was working through Kevin, helping him to make it to appointments, researching medical retirement. The chief had filed medical retirement on his behalf. He was pissed, right? How dare they? How dare they rip the career? I'm the poster child. How dare they, right? Supporting him, supporting our daughters. I was asked if I was interested in learning to become a coach. And I said, yes. Yes, I want to continue this path. So I took a 9-month certification course, and it was, again, life-altering, life-changing. And at the end of that 9 months, I felt so compelled to reach out to my law enforcement spouses. Let's do something. Now, this is fast forward just a little bit of time now. We're looking at February of 2021. We all know what happened in January of 2021, particularly January 6th of 2021, right? I got connected with a woman who was connected to the Capitol Police spouses. And they said, our Capitol Police spouses are really struggling. Can you help them? Absolutely. So I got deeply embedded via one positive outlook of COVID was the advent and use of Zoom all the time, right? Video communication. So I was able to jump on live Facebook groups with them, and I was coaching them. And a number of them said, "Oh my gosh, this is incredible. Like we need more of this, please." So I went back to the gentleman who trained me and I said, "We need to put together a certification course because more people want this. More people need this." Some of my Capitol Police spouses were my first coaches to graduate from our FRC certification course. They were supporting the Capitol Police Department in the Frederick area, and a fire captain had been killed in the line of duty that fall in Frederick. Some of you might know or remember that. Fire chief reached out and said, "Hey, I know you're supporting the blue. Can you come support the red?" Duh. Duh, right? And so that fall of 2021, we transitioned from originally blue line coaching into first responder coaching. So I'm telling you all this to share with you my experience as a first responder spouse and to let you know that I get it. I understand. And being vulnerable, being open, being willing to engage in difficult conversations is a skill, is something that you need to be prepared for, and also have some tools in your toolbox for when that opportunity comes. So I'm going to take some time now to review what coach approach looks like. What does it mean to be a coach? I'm going to give you some practical tools that, again, as I mentioned, you'll be able to leave this room with to have those difficult conversations. So any questions about any of that, just to throw this out to the audience, because this is where a little bit more of the fun interactive parts will come in, and then we'll continue through. Everyone's all set for right now? Okay. So what is coach approach in helping people? What does coach approach look like? And again, I'm sorry if you guys can't read these in the back. I'll review them. When we're having difficult conversations or using a coach approach, it is important for us to believe that we are capable of more, of growth, and that through that growth, right, we are going to be able to improve in all areas of our life. Okay. Using a coach approach helps to unlock a person's potential for that growth, okay, for the opportunity to look inside and allow them to see what they see and dig deeper. Okay. And we're going to talk about this in a moment, and the differentiation between a coach, a therapist, and a mentor, but ultimately we're helping people to learn about themselves from themselves. It's a very different approach, okay? We're not telling them, we're not teaching them, okay? Camera. Maybe I should change the battery in this thing. So it goes backwards, but not forward. I'm sorry. No, it was going backwards, but it's not going forward. Why is it not going forward? Sorry, guys. That's so strange. What's going on? Well, no, and then I'm trying to just get it to go from here, and it's not going. IT! All right, well, I can still talk obviously about coach approach, but yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I got to restart over here, though. Sorry, guys, for just one moment. Oh, that's why. Because my
Oh,
Wi-Fi died. Sorry, guys. One moment. That would do it. Oops, sorry about that. Okay. That would be it. Because I did not trust the Wi-Fi, so I wanted to make sure we were good, and look what happens. Okay. So in terms of coach approach, we believe that the person we are coaching is whole, healthy, write this down, whole, healthy, and ready to move forward and make changes in their lives. Whole, healthy, and ready to make changes in their lives. And when we're coaching someone, here we go. Sorry about that, guys. No, I just needed to reconnect. My Wi-Fi shut down. Nope, I just need to reboot or get this back up. I'm sorry about that. Here we go. So, note to self. Here we go. All right. Presentation. Here we go. That's why. All right. So again, as we're coaching people, we believe that they're whole, healthy, and ready to move forward. And as a coach, you are always curious. You must remain in a posture of curiosity. You must remain in a posture of curiosity. When you are speaking to someone, and I guess I should clarify something real quickly too. Coaching someone or having a coaching conversation or taking a coach approach is not something that's just leadership to subordinate. It's not just leadership to leadership or admin to admin. It's not just firefighter to firefighter. It is everyone. Everyone has the opportunity to take a coach approach in a way that helps people move through anything that's going on in their lives, okay? So being able to connect, being courageous, being self-aware, all roles of a person that takes a coach approach, okay? So as a thinking partner, you will be objectively curious, right? You want to know what's going on with that person. You are going to ask questions that are open-ended. You're going to think with someone about where they are, help them identify where they are and where they want to be, and support them as they move through those challenges. Okay? It's focused on you as an individual. As I mentioned, creative, resourceful, whole. We believe that the people we are coaching and connecting with have the opportunity, have the answers within inside themselves to help them move forward with their lives. A basic premise of taking a coach approach is that you are actively listening 80% of the time. How many of us think that we listen well? Raise your hand. Do you think you listen well? Are you good listeners? Huh? Right? Oftentimes we think we might be good listeners, but we aren't. I'm going to keep clicking over here. I'm sorry, guys. How many of you have seen this video? Let's hope this works.
It's just, there's all this pressure, you know?
You hear it?
And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me. And I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head. And it's relentless. And I don't know if it's going to stop. I mean, that's the thing that scares me the most, is that I don't know if it's ever going to stop.
Ah, shit. I should have stopped. I'm trying to not mess with it. But I wanted to put the subtitles on, so just in case you couldn't hear it from the back.
There's all this pressure.
One more time.
You know? And sometimes it feels like it's right up on me. And I can just feel it, like literally feel it in my head. And it's relentless. And I don't know if it's going to stop. I mean, that's scares me most is that I don't know if it's ever going to stop.
What do you notice?
You have a nail in your head.
It's not about the nail.
Are you sure? Because, I mean, I'll bet if we got that out of there.
Stop trying to fix it.
No, I'm not trying to fix
Do we
it.
do
I'm
this?
just pointing out that maybe the nail is causing.
You always do this. You always try to fix things when what I really need is for you to just listen.
See, I don't. If that is what you need, I think what you need is to get the nail.
See, you're not listening now.
Okay, fine. I will listen. Fine.
It's just sometimes it's like there's this achy. I don't know what it is. I'm not sleeping very well at all. All my sweaters are snagged. I mean, all of them.
That sounds really hard.
It's
Right? So we like to be fixers, right? That's what we do. That's what our job is. We want to fix people. We want to fix the situations around us, heal the people around us, and save them, right? But are we truly listening to them? Probably not, because we just want to make things better, right? It's like, no, I need you to listen to me. So there are 3 levels of listening here. 1, how does this relate to me? Level 1 is all about me and what I get out of a conversation. Okay? I'm going to interject my own experiences. You know that person that always ones up, right? You got a great story and like, oh, but wait till you hear my story, right? Someone who tunes in and tunes out, right? They're just passively, okay, yep, And someone who ums you to death, oh my gosh, No, you're not listening. Listen to what I'm saying. Level 2, listening, is still about what am I going to get out of this? What understanding can I take from it? What lessons can I learn from what you're saying to me? Okay? Level 2 listening is still about my understanding. Okay? Level 3 listening is where coaching comes to play. Level 3 listening is active. It's not passive. We're not just hearing the words coming out of someone's mouth. We are listening for not just the words that they are saying, but the words that they are not saying. We are listening for nuances in their tone, their inflection, their facial expressions. Okay? We are listening to the things that are not being said, and it's about them, not about you. If you are listening at level 3, by the end of a half hour, 45-minute conversation, you should be tired. You should be tired because you have projected all of your energy into focusing on what that other person is experiencing, other person is saying, and the other person is communicating. Okay? So to discuss these distinctions in terms of who's actually doing all the talking, as I mentioned before, a coach is 80% listening and 20% asking powerful questions. That's our job. That's a posture that I want all of you to practice after you leave my room. So when we're telling mentors, teachers, consultants, their job is to tell you about things that they've learned, right? Things that they're sharing their information with you, right? Counselors, they're asking questions, but they are the experts, right? You go to a therapist because they have letters at the end of their names. They can help you with diagnosing challenges, right? They can help give you 10 ways to improve sleeping habits, right? You go to those people because they have that experience. But a coach is someone that believes that you are the expert in your own life, and through powerful questioning, help you to discover what you already know to do and how to do it in ways that will leverage what you know for your own growth and your own path forward, okay? So again, who is the expert in a coach? You are. You are the expert, not the coach, right? Healthy, ready to move forward. We are promoting discovery for you, all right? And the outcome is a new awareness and being able to move forward in your lives, okay? So how do we do this in a firehouse filled with different personalities, right? We know, I'm sure, have any of you guys experienced the DISC assessment or personality, the types of personality? Raise your hand if you've done personality assessments, right? Yep. Right? The chief will come to you and be like, all right, we're going to do a conflict assessment or a personality test. It's like, am I the bear? Am I the dolphin? Am I the blue? Am I the square? Right? There's a lot of them out there. One of the ones that we use is called DISC. The DISC assessment is an incredible tool that helps us identify different personality styles within the department, within your membership, right? Again, you can't see the yellow, I'm sorry. It's conscientiousness. So D is dominance. You are direct, you're tough-minded. I'm sure as I'm explaining these different levels, you were picturing or remembering or thinking about people in your lives who connect to each of these different styles, right? Someone who's tough-minded, strong-willed, forceful, firm, right? They might exhibit dominant style. I is influence or influential. They're outgoing, they're enthusiastic, they're always pumped about doing whatever it is that they have been tasked to do, okay? Steadiness. You're even-tempered, accommodating, patient, tactful, humble, okay? And don't get me wrong, we can all be parts and pieces of all of these, right? And then conscientious. You're analytical, you're reserved, precise. They want the details and they need to get it right, okay? Are you chuckling because you guys are all like, we know those people? Well, just wait. Let's see if you can recognize these people here. Again, I'm hoping, I don't know why the sound, I apologize, the sound wasn't super loud.
So
But
we've established that everyone is different, right? But here's the whole thing. They are predictable. We all are. And because of that, we can actually predict how people will act or react in a given situation. Our world is made up of 4 types of people. There's dominant, or the D style, influencing, which is the I style, steady, or the S style, and compliant, the C style. Generally speaking, those are the personality types of the people you interact with every day. And I'll let you in on a little secret. You are one of them. Let's take a look. We've all been waiting on an elevator and seen the girl who presses the button, steps back and looks at the button again, then presses it again, and again.
someone just said 100% me.
She has places to go and people to see. She's probably always in a hurry, so then she'll tap and hold the button, frustrated, thinking she can actually make it move faster. These styles are dominant, direct, and results-driven people who want to control their environment and then do something to make a difference in their world. Now, let's take a look at the I style. She is talking talkative. Once the doors open to the elevator, she's the one who turns around and starts talking to nobody in particular about pretty much anything. She's an influencer. When the elevator stops, she's the jokester who quips, "Third floor, lingerie, enjoy your day." Now, not all I styles are cheesy people who tell mom jokes all the time, but you see what I mean. Eyes draw energy from people and love to engage. Now, here comes little Miss C style. She's the quiet one.
Conscientious.
Standing in the front of the elevator, looking at the plaque that reads maximum weight 2,500 pounds. She's calculating body weight. If one more person gets on, you're gonna go down. She's on a schedule, but she's allowed herself plenty of time. She's compliant, she knows the rules, obeys the rules, and wants everyone else to do the same. Look at her, how cute. Enter the S personality. She's stable, steady, and keenly aware of her surroundings. She wants everyone to be happy, and she thinks it's her job to make it so. She's the one holding the elevator door open to make sure everyone who wants to get on can do so at their leisure. Meanwhile, Miss D's in the back huffing and puffing about needing to get to her meeting. Then she'll even take the stairs if there's not enough room for Miss I, who keeps everyone waiting while she finishes her mocha latte frappuccino thing. Harmony and steadiness are a big deal to the S. As a leader, it's important to know these DISC styles so you can begin to better understand the people around you. It's also important to understand that we are all a blend of these styles. Sure, we can adapt those blends based on our environment or when a specific situation calls for one style over the other. But more often than not, we've all got to accept our DISC and learn to live, work, and play and accept these basic truths. So there you have it. We're all different, but we are predictably different.
All right. I'm sure a lot of people could relate.
I told this joke and my grandma was like, "Oh, that's so funny," and I was like, "Nobody's called me pussy since I was in the 7th grade, Grandma."
We know those people.
Yeah, you guys are the best audience. I should have you in my little pocket, in my little baby pocket where my pins are.
Okay, we know that people. We know that person, right? Again, it's just funny to connect with those people. And it's also, again, something that we can have further conversation with later if you guys are interested in learning more about DISC. But it gives you a brief overview of, again, different personality styles that you're working with within the Firehouse, right? And you're not always going to get along, right? You're not always going to see eye to eye about everything, right? But knowing a little bit more about personality and how to use coach approach within is helpful, right? To approach a difficult conversation. So again, this might be a little bit difficult to see, but using assessments is an incredibly important part or integral part of what we can do as coaches. We see and learn and understand people more deeply. One other piece here before I move on that I'd like to share with you. As I mentioned earlier, after about 6 months, I started experiencing PVCs. And I remember being so confused because I was so young. And when the doctor told me that, the cardiologist told me that it was because of stress, I was really curious. How do we quantify stress? How do we take a look at what one person is going through in comparison to another person and say, oh, that's a lot of stress, as opposed to, what, that's not a lot of stress, right? How do we put a number? How do we make sense of that? I was also really curious because the buzzword of the world in the first responder community right now is resilience, right? Everyone wants to talk about resilience. How do we become more resilient? There's resilience training, all the things, right? How do we quantify that? What does it look like to be resilient? And so I dug deep and I found an organization called HeartMath. And they created something called the Stress and Wellbeing Assessment. Now, the stress, oh, that's so hard to see. I'm sorry. The stress and, well, at the end, I've got a QR code. You guys scan it, send me your email address. I will send this to you. Okay? I'm sorry. It's really hard to see. The Stress and Wellbeing Assessment does just that. It helps to give an individual a snapshot of where you are in terms of different levels of stressors in your life, as well as different levels of well-being. And I apologize, this is really hard to see. I'll do my best to just explain real quickly. At first, it looks at different life changes. What has gone on in your life in the last year to impact or influence your stresses in your life, okay? Then from there, it breaks the assessment down. It's a 75-question multiple choice, takes like 10 minutes, 15 minutes to do, okay? And it's just a momentary snapshot, but it gives you an outlier of how much total stress you're experiencing in your life, physical, and then it breaks it down from there. Physical stress, work stress, relationship, financial, social supports, other types of stress, emotional, and then your stress response. Low is on this end, high is on this end. Now, mind you, this is a great assessment, a great tool to use as you're going through a coaching relationship, because we can take a look at this initially and say, wow, this guy's got a lot of stress, right? Look at how high these different total stress is. Look at his relationship stress. He's like tapped out on his relationship stress. Like he's at the top, right? That was like 99, okay? So we can say, all right, what's going on here? Let's have conversations. Let me ask some powerful questions and take a coach approach to see what we can do to help reduce some of the stresses in your life, right? Total well-being. Now notice, now on the opposite end of the spectrum, total well-being, this is again low and this is high. You've got stress management, adaptability, resilience, and emotional vitality. This is low. So not only were his stress is incredibly high, his ability to process that stress, to move through that stress, was incredibly low. All right, are we seeing? Okay. Now, one of the cool things about this assessment is that you can go through and take a look at each different, how you answered each of the questions. I'm not going to get into that right now, but you can look into how each of the questions were answered in order to be able to see, wow, okay, when I answered these questions, this is really what's showing me this data. Okay. So that was an example of someone who had begun coaching with me. We had continued to do some informal coaching over the course of about a year. And I had him take it again. I was like, why don't we have you take it again? This is my learning, right? My experience in terms of understanding how we can quantify it and what we can do to show coaching is working, right? And this is exactly it. So again, going back about a year later, this person retook the stress and well-being assessment. And granted, you can take this, after a month of coaching, after 3 months. We really suggest about 3 months of formal coaching, but that's not what this is really about. This is about you guys being able to take a coach approach during conversations to help reduce that stress, increase the levels of well-being. And so just as a point of proof or point of reference, about a year later, after informal coaching, this person experienced significantly lower levels of stress, right? Overarchingly, across all levels of stress. And then in terms of his well-being, he was able to really focus on his own well-being and move forward and move through some of the challenges he was experiencing in his life, okay? Questions, ideas, comments about any of that? Now, how do I get back to... There it goes. All right. So I wanted to just share that. So DISC is an assessment, again, to help you understand your community, the people that you're working with, using something like a stress and well-being assessment, which is, by the way, free. So again, I'll make sure that you guys have information on how to access that. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I want to transition just real briefly, because not only have we identified that, yes, there is stress in the job, right? Every single day. And sometimes it comes more from in the firehouse than the calls we're on, right? Yeah, right? But we're all experiencing stress. And when stress builds up in the brain, we have all those conversations about, cortisol and the chemicals. And real briefly, side story, I remember, actually it's pretty common still today, years and years and years after Kevin's mental health break, he still craves violent TV, violent movies. His body, his brain is still wired to release the chemicals for his fight or flight because of the job for so long, right? You guys get in that. It's hard to bring those levels down, right? So when we're talking about what coaching can do, it helps to take a step back. It's giving you a pause. It's giving you an opportunity to reflect and help your brain and body adjust in those difficult, stressful times. So in terms of what we do in our brain when it comes to coaching, we have beliefs, we have biases and assumptions that come from our experiences in our lives. And it's as simple as what you had for lunch could influence and affect your ability to have a safe space, to create safe spaces. But ultimately, I like this fact, right? You can't tickle yourselves. Do you guys know that? Kind of a funny, little fun fact, right? You can't tickle yourself, right? So and that ultimately means, right, we have a hard time seeing what's inside ourselves. And we're going to talk about this coming up when we discuss Johari's window shortly. So your brain, as you know, obviously, again, neuroplasticity, we're talking a little bit about how the brain stores. You guys should probably know a lot of this already, right? But obviously we store information in the buckets of our brain. And because of the neuroplasticity, they're constantly firing and rewiring. We're able, through a coaching conversation, to create aha moments. We're able to ask a question, and you're going to experience this in just a few minutes here, that gets you to pause and stop and reflect and say, whoa, I never thought about something like that before, okay? All right, so paying attention to what our brain is doing when we're experiencing challenges and trauma on the job, okay? So this is a concept. Have any of you guys heard of Johari's window before? No? Okay, cool. Okay. So it's really fascinating. And I have a little video. Maybe I'll just jump to the short little, I just feel badly because you guys can't hear. Can you hear in the back? You can hear that? Oh my gosh. Okay. Because we're working with literally. So, okay. So good to know that you can hear it. And I'll make sure that these are.
One of the tools that we use when we're talking about
they are.
authenticity.
Okay. Oh, and then I do that. Okay.
One of the tools that we use when we're talking about authenticity and feedback is the Johari window. The Johari window is a model that just has two axes. And our one axis is see. And on the other axis, it's what others see.
I would suggest writing this down.
The things that I see, yes. And the
If you
things
can.
that I don't see, no. And over here, there's what others see, yes or no. So what I do see and what others see is what we call public self. That is what I am projecting and others are perceiving about me when I am out in the world. What I don't
Public
see
self. Yes,
and
what I see,
others
what
do
others see.
is what we call blind spots. These are areas that are ripe for feedback. So if somebody has ever come up to you and said, I'm experiencing you being a certain way and you don't think that's right, that's a blind spot. You don't see it, but they do see it. Then there's what others see, or what I see, but what others don't see. And that is my hidden or secret self. These are the things that maybe I don't want others to know about me. Maybe I had a traumatic experience when I was younger and I'm insecure and I don't want people to see me as insecure, so I have a defense mechanism that I put out there. So that's my hidden or secret self. And then here, what I don't see and what others don't see, that's a mystery. And the way that the model works is that if I get feedback, I can actually learn what my blind spots are and be able to be more aware of them. So I move things from this box over to here. If I have my hidden or secret self, if I'm willing to share more, if I'm willing to be more open, then some of my hidden or secret self that maybe I'm not so ashamed of or so worried about hiding, I can move into my public self and actually project more of who I really am to the real world. The phenomenon that tends to happen then is it creates this vacuum where suddenly things that I am not aware of about myself and others are not aware about myself will start to move into the perception of either others or to me. And I can start to experience more of who I am. This is where true discovery is. Other people, like, I might say something about myself, hey, I just learned this about myself. And people say, oh, I've always seen that about you. Well, that was just a blind spot. That wasn't really a mystery to everybody. The real discovery is when things start coming to either others or me that I've never seen before. And that is, this is where personal growth can drive from, if I take an active effort in this.
Okay. So the concept of Johari's window is fascinating for lots of different types of growth. Okay, I'm going to come back to you real quickly just to make sure that everyone understands. So the concept of Johari's window, again, is just, again, a matrix here. So known to self, unknown to self, okay, known to others or unknown to others. We project certain qualities, certain personality traits, going back to the disc, right, that others recognize and see and can either admire or dislike about you, right? But it's your public self. It's what other people see and you project to the world, okay? Then we have things that we don't necessarily know about ourselves, but others see about us, right? Again, the concept of like someone says to you, oh, like, you know, I knew that was going to bother you. You're like, what? I didn't know that was going to bother. Oh, well, okay, that's a blind spot. That's, again, an opportunity for growth. Someone ever points something out to you that you weren't aware of, that's an opportunity for growth, right? Then you have things that are known to yourself but are unknown to others, right? We have our own stories that we tell ourselves. We're going to talk about this in a minute. We have our own feedback in our minds, the stories that we tell ourselves about ourselves, right? That no one else knows, okay? No one else connects to. You don't show that to anyone. That's your private self. Now, this is the box here. What is unknown to yourself and unknown to others is where personal growth happens, okay? If you're able to unlock more about yourself and express and be, I'm going to use the word, I know it's an icky word, vulnerable, to be willing to see what others see that you don't, willing to share things about yourself that you haven't, that other people can connect to, that's where personal growth happens. And that's where coaching is incredibly impactful, okay? Incredibly powerful. So think about this as you're engaging in coaching conversations, engaging in this coach approach. I want you to make sure you keep this in mind, okay? Come on. I just connected on purpose to make sure it was still good. There we go. Okay. So who we surround ourselves obviously has an incredible important factor of who we are, right? So when thinking about who we choose to surround ourselves with, right, we have the family that, because they're family, we're like, okay, yes, you're family. We don't always love them or, want to be near them or connect to them, but they're family. And then we've got the friends who are more like family than our family, right? So, right? Absolutely. Okay. So making sure that you're surrounding yourselves with people that are willing to share those blind spots with you, right? Being authentic and sharing those blind spots, right? We fit in. We choose people whose habits are similar to our that firehouse, right? You've got cliques. I know, right? We've got our cliques in the firehouse, but are they serving you well? Are they going to continue to support you in your growth in whatever goals you might have? Financial, relation, whatever that looks like, okay? You need to make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who are going to continue to lift you up, right? And identify and connect with the people that you might not have in the past, right? I want you to think outside that comfort zone, especially when taking a coach approach, okay? It's your responsibility before you leave this room that you will be using these tools and resources to connect with the people that you might not necessarily ordinarily do, okay? All right, because oftentimes we are overpowered by our own individual desires. We might not want to engage in difficult conversations, even though we know that that was a shit call, or we know that that was really difficult, whatever, right? We have to put our own feelings aside and be the team, okay? Right? It's incredibly important. So as I mentioned, this concept of clarifying the story about yourself, I want you to think about these questions, and I'm going to read them one at a time just to make sure everyone hears them in the back and see them in the back. But I want you to stop. I'm going to take 10 seconds. I want you to think about each of these questions as we go through them real quick. Okay, what would you most like other people to understand about you? What are some of the weaknesses or drawbacks to your position within the firehouse? To your position as a spouse? What are some weaknesses or drawbacks to your position as a mom or a dad? What behaviors tend to be triggering for you? Right? Acknowledging your blind spots is what these questions are about, right? How we see others is also critically important to that personal growth and development and coaching approach, coaching aspects. How might someone else describe what it's like dealing with you? How might someone else describe what it's like dealing with you? What aspects of other people's perspectives seem to resonate with you? Okay. Important questions to ask about people that you are working with in your environment, right? But now, to take it a step further, how are you connected? Everyone has commonalities, right? So what do you have in common? Just because you believe something about yourself to be true, or what others might think about you, what are the commonalities? When you're experiencing conflict, everyone experiences conflict on this job. We're humans, we're people, right? How do you behave during conflict? And what kind of ongoing working relationships do you have with the people within your department? Tough questions, right? But ones that require you to think. Okay. So we need to separate our biases, right? We need to separate our beliefs when we are coaching, when we're taking a coach approach, We need to make sure that our opinions are not getting in the way of supporting another human. One of the most fascinating coaching experiences I have ever had in my now 4.5 years, not too long, but of the coaching world, well, more than that, 18, was one of our trainers, our instructors is a pastor, an incredible human being, and very passionate about the coaching world. And I partnered him with a trans woman. It was an incredible experience because he had to put his own beliefs aside, right? He had to put his own biases aside to focus on the person in front of him and really, truly allow that person to make changes and see perspectives and understandings in their own life, right? We got to put our own biases. We can't interject. When you're taking a coach approach, it's about them, not you, right? So making sure we separate ourselves from our biases. And it's hard sometimes because I think we oftentimes get into this concept of this drama triangle where we want to play the victim in situations, right? Especially if sometimes conflict arises, right? It's easy for us to play a victim role. We're not necessarily the victim, right? But it's easy for us sometimes to play a victim role. Well, it was the training officer's fault that he didn't tell me that I was able to go to this training. Well, the communication, leadership, right? I was out there asking, as part of my collaboration with Battalion 1 Consulting, what's one thing you could change about your organization? What would it be, right? But we have to take responsibility for our own roles within the organization, right? And we can't constantly feed into this idea of pointing at other people, being the persecutor, saying it's their fault that the call went bad. Or just swooping in and be like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to fix it all. I'm just going to fix it all. No, right? We, again, have to take a step back and move from this concept of a drama triangle of our constant repetition to taking responsibility and using more of a power triangle by accessing coaching approaches, okay? You are the designer, the creator, the purpose fulfiller of your own life, right? We need to separate ourselves from the drama triangle and move into using a coach approach to help support yourself and others. Okay. We've all seen Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I'm sure. If you haven't, research it. It is fascinating. We all have needs. And oftentimes we engage in conflict. We engage in destructive behaviors when our needs are not being met, right? Okay? So ask someone, what needs are not being met for you right now? Take a moment. When you see something, say something, right? If you know someone's going through something, how may I best support you today? Write that one down. How may I best support you today? Oftentimes, when we're facing difficult conversations and difficult trying situations, we often don't consider our individual values. We oftentimes don't consider what is it truly that's important to us. And why is it important for us to know what's important for us so we can make sure that we are communicating effectively, supporting each other. So I'm going to ask you a couple of these questions, and I want you to think about them. Okay? If you can help identify values within each other, again, it opens up a really cool space for vulnerability and coaching questions. Okay? If you were a fly on the wall at your own funeral, what would you like to hear your friends, families, or colleagues say about you? Some questions to help you identify your values. What's important to you as an individual? What gives you the most joy, satisfaction, or renewal in your life? Right? What are the things that bring you that level of joy that just you lose track of time? It's the most important thing in the moment. Think of 3 people. I love doing this one. Think of 3 people you admire the most. And when you're going through a difficult time, when you're heading into a difficult situation, think to this question. How would they handle this? How would they respond? How would they connect? What would they do, right? What characteristics do they have that you think very highly of? And what do you need to feel fulfilled in your life? Right? What do you need to have to be fulfilled? And what's interesting is, without raising hands, and it's okay, but how many of you are like, well, the firehouse? The firehouse fulfills me. It's the people that I surround myself with that fulfill me. The 3 people I thought of that I admire most are people that I work with, maybe, right? But what about beyond that? I want you to think beyond that, okay? We're going to spend a little bit of time here. On your piece of paper, so everyone should have open up your blank. Oh, I need a blank piece of paper. Blank piece of paper. I would like you, please, to draw a massive, this is where it gets fun and a little bit more interactive, and I have things to give out. Okay. Big circle. Draw a big, huge, I'm sorry, you don't have big paper. I have big paper. Do you want big paper? Are you sure? I brought a ream just in case. Everyone needs to have a big piece of paper. Anyone need paper? Raise your hand if you need big paper. Everyone have a pen? So when I talked about tools and strategies and activities that you will be leaving this classroom with, this is one of them. On your big old piece of paper, you just drew a circle. Please separate that circle into 8 sections. A pizza pie, please. 8 different sections. Eight different sections to your pizza pie. And draw it here. If you guys can't see it on the board. Now, on the outside of your circle, I see some people jumping ahead. Don't do it. On the outside of your circle, please write 8 different areas of your life that you value the most. So, on the outside of the circle, on the outside of the circle within each pizza pie slice, write 8 different areas of your life you value the most. If you would like to cheat, you may do so by looking at the board. Friends and family. Maybe you want to separate friends from family. Career. Oh, I love you. Outside of the circle, but that's okay. No, you're fine. You're totally fine. It's okay. It'll still work. You're totally fine. It'll still work. I love it. Outside of the circle, 8 areas of your life that are most important to you. You need some ideas? Career, right? Financial stability, sleep, relaxation or fun and leisure, personal growth, health, physical health, mental health, your peers, your department members, your significant other, your children. Just don't say I've done this activity where I have had wife and girlfriend on the same wheel. I kid you not. It's a good time. Balance. Thank you. Balance. Perfect. I've done this. There's some of the responses I've had over the years has been, I had cocaine. That was a good one. Okay. 8 different areas. Give me a thumbs up if you got all 8. Okay. All right. Now, what you're going to do next. Now, remember, again, I can send this slideshow to you so you'll have a visual. But what you're going to do next is evaluate your level of satisfaction in these areas. Now, I'll show you how to do that. Everyone, eyes on me. Eyes on me. Really bad circle. You are going to evaluate the level of satisfaction in each of these areas by doing this. Numerically, 1 is on the inside of your circle. 10 is on the outside of the circle. Within each of your pizza pie slices, I want you to draw a line between 1 or 0 in the middle and 10 on the outside in terms of your level of satisfaction in those areas. So let's say that was like a 5. I don't know. I'm drawing upside down. Okay. Take a minute and think about truly your level of satisfaction in these 8 areas and draw a line in that circle. That's okay. But you see how okay. Okay. Draw a line, sir. Around. That's okay. It kind of works that way too. Yep. Around the pizza pie slice in terms of the levels of satisfaction you have in each area of your life. Do you guys understand? Maybe some visual? Got it? Okay. Think about it. This doesn't have to be. Take a moment. Identify the levels of satisfaction you have in each area of these.
I'm struggling with how to make this line. Okay.
So here.
Yep.
So here's my pizza pie slice.
Yeah.
So this would be in between the 0 and the 10. This would be like a 5.
Okay.
So 1 or 0 would be closer. Now I didn't say this. 0 obviously being, I should have said this, I apologize. 0 being the least satisfied, right? And 10 being the most satisfied. So I apologize, I did not say that. Right? So from 0 to 10, 0 being least satisfied and 10 being the highest level of satisfaction in each of these areas. 1 more minute. You guys can look at see my drawing. So the line is in between the circle in the slice. Okay? In the slice. Yep.
I came way out with my friends. I mean,
Look at you. It's another big star. What is she doing?
Because that's what you said, draw a line. That's my
So,
satisfaction.
yeah, but you could do like this here, and then this there, and then that here, and then that here.
Oh, all right.
I fully support. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you're done. All 8 areas. Okay. 30 more seconds. Guys, this is called the Wheel of Life and can be done super quickly in any situation, in any capacity with anyone at any time, right? Let's take a moment. Let's sit down. Whether you want to do this with all of your people all at once, or you want to sit down and you're having a difficult conversation with someone and you're not quite sure how to break it. How do I break into this conversation with someone? I know they're struggling. Peer support team, I didn't even ask that. I should ask at the beginning, right? Peer support team members using something like this is an incredibly useful tool to break into some conversations. So my question now, super cheesy question, because if all of your levels of satisfaction were on a 10, that'd be a pretty smooth ride if this were the Wheel of Life, right? My question to you is, how bumpy is that ride? Right? In my years of doing this, not a single person has had 10s across the board, right? We all have areas of our lives that require an opportunity or that have an opportunity for improvement. Fact, not every area of our lives that we value are we most satisfied with. Did someone say something about vacations? Fact. I'm going to ask that question. Great. Let me ask that right now. Just row out. It's okay if you guys want to. You don't have to. What are the 10s? What are some of the areas of your lives that are, I shouldn't even just say 10s, 8s, 9s, and 10s. What are some areas of your lives, the things that you value the most that were 8s, 9s, and 10s for you? Share them out. Your in-laws? Your animals, excuse me. I was like, in-laws, that's great. Your animals. Yeah, your people that, right? Your pets. That's a great value. What else? Kids, grandkids. What else? One more time. Sleep. Thank you, sir. Often in a room, I don't get sleep as being something that is highly satisfaction. They have high satisfactions. You got that. Next.
I love my gym.
Gym. So going to the gym.
The GYM, not the GI.
Personal preference.
I wasn't going to say it, but
Right? Anything else? 8s, 9s, and 10s? Travel. Family. What? Music. Things that are important to you. Now, those 8s, 9s, and 10s are what gets you through the shit days. Those 8s, 9s, and 10s, maybe 7s, right, are what gets you through a difficult day. It gets you through any day, right? Those are the things that you can turn to because you know that they are there for you, right? Now, I'm going to ask you to be brave, and it's okay if you don't, if you choose not to. What are some of those 1s, 2s, and 3s? I'm sorry, sir? Personal time. Okay, what else? Work-life balance. Sleep. What else? Money. Said it. I missed it.
money, coworkers.
That's right. Oh, that wasn't too bad. Coworkers. Okay. Guys, those are the things that we have opportunities to help you improve in, right? Through a coaching conversation. This is an incredibly useful tool. Now I have a bit of a bigger ask. Is there anyone in the room who would be willing to let me coach them for 10 minutes on one of these items? I love you. Thank you. I forget your name off the top of my head. I'm sorry. Katie, thank you. All right. So we're going to take just a couple minutes. I'm going to show you what coaching looks like. It is not scary, I promise. Katie, it doesn't matter what it is on your circle. Please tell me one thing in your life that you would like me to coach you on right now. And everyone else, I need to be paying attention and listening here.
Well, I guess sleep. I haven't slept in like 2 years. I mean, that's a little exaggeration, but that's what it feels like.
Okay, let's talk about sleep habits.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you don't mind me asking, what was the number that you assigned to sleep?
I give you like a 1 or 2.
Okay, so 1 or 2. So what does that 1 or 2 look like for you right now? You said you haven't slept in a really long time. So what are your sleep habits right now? What made you give it a 1 or 1-ish or so?
I sometimes wake up as many as like 20 or 30 times a night. I mean, it's like I'll wake up, I'll fall asleep, I'll wake right back up.
Mm-hmm.
Other times I do a little better. I do a little better, and I might get like a 3 or 4 hour stretch.
Okay. So in general, sleep is typically, waking up often at night. It's something that you could on occasion get a section of 2 or 3 hours, but for the most part, it's something that has really been something you're dissatisfied with for a long time. Okay. So Katie, now I know we're just gonna play pretend. What would a 8 or 9 look like for you in terms of sleep habits?
6 hours straight.
6 hours
It'd be a miracle.
straight. A miracle for you. 6 hours of just like calm and peace and serenity and rejuvenation. Okay. 6 hours straight of sleeping.
Now, to be honest, I did have a sleep study.
Okay.
And the doctor sent my doctor 2 completely different reports on the same day. And one said I was perfect and I had no sleep apnea and that wasn't my issue. And then the other report said I had severe sleep apnea and I needed to be on the thing right away. So my doctor's like, well, I don't know what to do with that. So then I call them and they say, oh, well, then you'll have to have another one. But it has to be approved. So it took them 8 months to finally say, okay, we'll approve a second one. Because we obviously don't know how to read the
First
one.
2. Yeah.
So then I haven't followed up.
Okay.
It's on me and I take
Katie.
ownership of that.
Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. Because my next question was, what are some of the things that you have done? Right? What are some of the things? Coaching is really about just sidebar, here in the now. right? We aren't going to discuss a ton about what happened in the past, but by asking you in the moment, what have you done currently? What has been done currently is a great question. But I do want to ask you, do you remember a time when you got 6 hours straight?
When I was younger.
Okay. What were some of the things that you did when you were younger that might have helped that 6 hour time frame?
I don't really think anything. Actually, when I was younger, I worked 3 to 11:30. I could drink a coffee at 10 o'clock at night, and I could go home, go to bed, and get a whole night's sleep. Now, if I have a coffee after 2, forget it. I'm gonna wait till the next day. So I again recognize some things, but
Okay, great.
I really would love a coffee at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, but I won't have it.
Good. So hearing that your body has changed over time and it's been a challenge, right? Katie, let me ask you. You rated it around, we said 1. It's pretty, yeah. What would a 1.5 look like for you?
I mean, it's not much improvement, so I don't know, like only waking up, I guess, like 6 times in a night.
So a reduction in the amount of times that you're waking up at night. Okay. All right. So that in itself, right? Any sort of reduction could help move that level of satisfaction higher. Now, again, I am not diagnosing. I am not, right? It's not my job. It's not my place. What's one thing that you could do in the next 24 to 48 hours to help move that 1 to 1.5 to help reduce some of the wake ups that you're experiencing overnight?
Well, I mean, I can see long term, I should be better and follow up and get my sleep study.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've tried a lot of stuff. Like I've done webinars on sleep through the IAFF.
Awesome.
I was taking melatonin. They said stop taking it because it will make you stop producing your own.
Yeah.
I open my sunroof every day in the morning to get the first light. I mean, I've tried a lot of
That's
stuff.
awesome. Mm-hmm. Thank you for sharing those things. Is there something you haven't tried?
Well, yeah, I don't take sleeping pills.
Okay. Nope. Understood completely. Is there anything else that you haven't tried that you would be willing to try?
I just bought a weighted eye blanket.
Okay.
I tried it. I kept waking up to fix it.
So that wasn't as.
I have my magnesium. I actually take it every night.
So yeah. Okay. So an opportunity for magnesium, guys. Again, sidebar here, right? I just wanted you to be transparent, right? So I'm asking her where she was in terms of her satisfaction, what that 10 would look like. Let's reduce it back. Let's have conversations. Where are you now? And what can we do to help increase that 1.5, right? I'm not looking for an overnight solution, but you yourself just said, well, I could call and reschedule that. So when I asked you, what can you do in the next 24 to 48 hours? Katie, do you think that you could call and reschedule that session in the next 24 to 48 hours?
So yeah, well, yes, but I don't clearly how much faith do I have in someone that can't give me a report. So maybe I want to start the whole process over somewhere else where maybe they could give you one report with the right information on the same page.
On the same page in the same report. No, that's right. Again, so the idea, the concept of just sitting back and allowing someone to think about the things that they've experienced, the things that they've done in order to help find some forward progress. That's what coaching approach is, guys, right? We've allowed her an opportunity to think through, what have I done? What haven't I done? How can I continue to advance? Can you research, you just talked about looking into a different provider, looking into a different resource. Is that something you can do in the next 20, like start researching a new provider, a new opportunity for?
Yes, I can start researching that. Yes.
I have a question, one more or just frame it out here for just another moment. What happens if you don't make that phone call in the next 24, 48 hours to reschedule?
I just keep going the same way I'm going. No change. It's working really well.
And in what ways is that going to impact other aspects of your wheel?
Well, I'm cranky a lot because I'm tired a lot in the mornings. I snooze a lot. I never ever leave for work. But if it's not work, I might be late for some other stuff.
So, right? So if you don't take a step to help improve your sleep challenges, right, it's going to affect other areas of your wheel because you're not getting the sleep. Might not get to work right on time because you're hitting this snooze button because you're so incredibly tired. What other aspects of your wheel might be influenced or affected if you don't work on improving your sleep habits?
You don't have patience with the kids
You-
or the coworkers or the same crap that you deal with at work a lot or
Right.
you're tired and grumpy.
Good. I want everyone to look at their wheel. If you were to improve one area of your wheel, even just by a half a step, one step, what other areas of that wheel would be improved, affected, influenced, right? Thank you.
My friend's coaching me here.
I can't wait to hear more. Right? Because you have the answers inside. My goal is not to diagnose. My goal is not to treat, right? My goal is to say, what answers do you have within yourself that you can tap into through my powerful question asking to help you move that bar just a bit? I'm not fixing anyone, right? You're not fixing someone through a coaching conversation. You're not fixing. Now, the integral part, and something I want to make sure that we understand, and of course, this is just a really brief example, is not only must we have conversations about how to move the levels of satisfaction in our lives up, because we all have areas to improve upon. We all have areas of our lives that we can find more satisfaction in. But truly, number one, if we don't, where does that leave us? And she said stuck, right? Stuck. That leaves us stuck. Okay? So if we can help the person that we are having a difficult conversation with improve an area of their lives, even just a little, right? We are attaining our coaching goals, attaining goals, right? Any questions about that process? About the wheel? Super easy. Do it with your significant other tonight. Take a kid, you have your teenager. I love doing this with my girls. Now they're 18 and 15. And we take a minute, right? Let's do it. Mom, we're not doing a wheel again, right? But really, what's important to you? You guys identified the things that you valued most in your life. And you're telling me that you are not totally satisfied with them? Let's do something about it. Let's engage in coaching conversations in Coach Approach, okay? Any other questions about, any other thoughts, ideas about our wheel? One more minute while this connects again, guys. No? Nothing? Ask questions. Oh, I need to give you your reward. Here. Thank you for allowing me to coach you. Okay? Again, just small wins. Now also, mind you, Katie, we're going to exchange phone numbers because I'm going to text you in 48 hours and be like, so did you research the person that you're going to, right? Because it's also a coach's responsibility to make sure that you're following up and following through and allowing and seeing and watching and supporting the person that you are coaching's growth. We need to be there for the people that we surround ourselves with. Okay? Hey. Here we go. Okay. So there are lots of different models of coaching, right? If you were just to Google like models of coaching, you're going to come up with dozens, okay? And if anyone's interested in reading a book, write this down. The book that I would recommend is Coach the Person, Not the Problem. Write the book down. Write this, Coach the Person, Not the Problem, by Marsha Reynolds. If you want to dig a little bit further, Coach the Person, Not the Problem. Do you know Marsha Reynolds? Okay, here's your face. Okay. All right. There are a bunch of different ways to use coaching. This is another example. What I just did basically was an overarching, really quick example to show you guys what a coaching conversation might look like. Just asking questions of someone and being curious about where they are and where they want to go, and then providing a space for them to move in that direction. So vertical coaching is another form of coaching, another coaching model that focuses on outcome, right? Again, using a wheel to start a conversation, you can move into something like this in terms of vertical coaching, okay? So what do you want as the outcome? I want to improve my sleep habits. I want to connect more with my spouse. I want to take more vacations. I want more financial stability. Why is this important to you now? Because if I don't improve my sleep habits, I continue to be cranky. I lose patience with my kids. I'm not able to pay my bills. I'm not feeling happy when I go home at night because I'm arguing with my spouse. I can't right now. I'm sorry. Again, I will make sure you have access to these at the end. Okay? I'll make sure I send these out to everyone in the room. Okay? Or anyone who wants them. Okay? What's missing for you or stopping you from moving forward? Well, I did the study, but it didn't give the results that we needed. I needed to move forward. Okay? I am working all this overtime, so my wife or spouse is unhappy, but I need to make the money to be able to pay for vacations, right? What's missing or stopping you from moving forward? I say that I value my family, right? How many of us put family on that wheel? We say we're valuing our family, yet when forgive me a little bit, but when those tones drop and you're not on duty, are you still showing up? But you say you value your family, right? Okay. Beliefs, fears, assumptions. So how real are the consequences you fear, right? How real? If I don't improve my sleep, I will continue to be a impatient, crabby person. So I fear that I'm going to, thank you again for allowing me to use this, right? Use this as an example, right? So I fear that I'm going to it's going to have an impact on my children. I fear that I'm not going to be the best parent to my children, and that's going to cause challenges in my family. So is it worth the risk of putting yourself out there, making another phone call, sitting down and making plans with your spouse so when the tones drop, you put the phone away? So you show the value of the things that you have stated you value the most? Okay? Is it worth the risk of not showing up on that call when the tones drop to make sure that your spouse knows that you're there for her? Okay? What will you regret not doing a year from now? Katie, if you don't do this in 24 hours, 48 hours, what is your life going to look like a year from now? What are you going to regret? What are you going to think back on? I should have put the phone away, right? I should have listened, right? I should have listened at level 3 when my guy came in from a call and looked like shit. What are we going to regret if we don't ask the questions? Okay? So reflective inquiry is an incredibly important part of these conversations, these coaching conversations, guys, okay? In order to make sure that you are expressing that you are being heard, it's helpful to have someone repeat back to you what you've said, right? If you're engaged in a conversation and you're listening to someone at level 3, it is your responsibility to recap, paraphrase, encapsulate what they're saying so you have a full understanding. Did you notice I was doing that with Katie? So what you told me was you have tried a whole bunch of things. You tried the magnesium, you've met with the sleep specialist, you're doing things. And that's incredibly important. Great job. You're taking steps, right? So using recapping as a way to show that you're listening fully. I asked you before, it's not about the nail. We're not fixing. But if you can listen to someone and ask questions. So are you telling me that you've exhausted options? Okay, let's talk a little bit more about what other options might be out there for you. Let me see if I understand what you're sharing with me. Okay. Paraphrasing. You guys know what paraphrasing is for the most part, right? Restating what we hear in a slightly different form. Okay. So what you're saying is that that doctor could not have given you any sort of diagnosis and help because there were two conflicting reports about that study. Oh my gosh, that must have been so frustrating, right? Yeah, that was incredibly frustrating. And I just wanted to throw my hands up in the air and be like, well, this sucks. I'm stuck with this for life. Well, let's further this conversation, right? And then encapsulating. Bottom line, you want to improve your sleep habits, but you don't have the resources that you have. You feel like you've exhausted many of your resources. What's something else that we can do, right? Bottom line, you want to work on your relationship with your spouse, but when the tones drop, you're picking up the phone, right? Listening and then using reflective statements as a way to have someone understand what it is that you are hearing from them. And then I moved into blockers. What are some of the things that might prevent you from doing that? Right? Well, I don't want to go back to the same guy because he obviously didn't read the results right. He didn't get the results right. Okay? I like the repetition. So what I hear you really want is to sleep better, right? But what are you willing to commit to doing about it? What is the next step? Okay? Again, connected to our values. Going back to our wheel. You've said that was most important to you. We have to keep going back to our values. Guys, how many of you guys make New Year's resolutions? Do you guys make New Year's resolutions? You're like, yeah. All right, no, I see people shaking their head like, no, why? Why do people make New Year's resolutions? And then literally a month later, it's like out the door, right? 2 months in, it's November. September, excuse me, I said November. It's September. How many of us even thought in the last 6 months about the New Year's resolution we made this year, right? We aren't as successful, not that we can't, right? But we're not as successful at keeping to the things that we say we're going to do if it doesn't align with our values. If it doesn't align with our values, it's really hard to set a goal and attain it, right? And achieve it. So making sure you're aligning these conversations with the values that you have for yourself, okay? So one of the things that's important is I had her say a couple times, right? In the 48 hours, you said you're gonna call, right? All right, well, in 48 hours, I'm going to check in with you and make sure what are you going to do tomorrow? I'm going to research and look for new places okay, right? Saying it over and over again. Before people can move into action, they have to accept the truth for themselves, right? When you're having that difficult conversation with someone that's struggling, what's the next step? Have them say it out loud. I'm going to call and make an appointment with a coach. I'm going to call and make an appointment with a therapist. Great. 48 hours. I'm going to check in with you and see how that goes. Okay? Okay. So back to this. Because I know all of you, I gave you an opportunity to ask and no one did at the beginning. So how is he now? Right? Were you guys wondering how is he now? A little bit? Okay. Poster child, this guy right here, who became a shell of himself literally overnight. We spent 5 years, roughly 5 years, working on supporting him in ways that I never thought I would have to support him as a wife, as a woman, right? I had mentioned to you that he didn't understand, it's a perfect example. So slowly I was allowing him back into the process of supporting our children. And I'd say, okay, Kev, I need you to pick up our daughter Bree from dance at 7 o'clock. I'd have to tell him a couple days in advance because nothing outside of 24 hours made sense to him. But I'd say, hey, don't forget on Thursday, I'm going to need you to pick up Bree at dance at 7. Yeah, okay. A couple hours earlier in the day, hey, Kev, don't forget, I need you to pick up Bree at 7 at the dance studio. Okay, yep, I can do that. Okay. 6:30 roll around. Hey, Kev, don't forget, I need you to leave right now because you need to pick up Bree from the dance studio. Yep, I'm packing up now. I'll leave in a minute. 6:35. Hey, Kev, have you left the house yet? Oh, no, I'm wrapping up my TV show or movie, right? 6:40. Hey, Kev, have you left yet? Oh, yep, just leaving right now, getting in the truck. Awesome. Get a text message at 7. Mom, where's Dad? Kev, where are you? You said you were in your truck. You just left. Oh, I stopped at Dunkin's. The fuck? You stopped what? Like, what? Right? Like, there was no concept. Oh, well, if I stop at Dunkin's, it's going to take me longer and I'm not going to make it there in time. And then the kiddos call, right? That was my life for the first couple years, right? Then slowly over time, I was able to say, hey, I text him at 6:30. Yep, I'm on it. And I knew that he was leaving at 6:30 and I could trust that he was leaving at 6:30, but I still had to text him at 6:30. Then it went from that to I could text him at, in the afternoon, hey, don't forget, I need you to pick up Bree at 7. Yep, I got it, right? And we started to see the synapses refiring. If you have ever watched someone have that aha moment and watched the brain do its thing, it is an incredible moment, okay? But just to give you context, so he found out, I think it was like three years ago now, 3.5 years ago, he found out that guys who were doing details didn't have to carry weapon. Now, mind you, obviously his LTC had been pulled, right? The second his chief had found out that he had been hospitalized, that sucker was out of his possession, right? Thankfully, but, right? So he finds out like 3.5 years ago, and he's like, I'm going to ask the retirement board. Like, I'm going to see if I can do details. Now, he's been medically retired at this point, which we had to fight for, a whole nother story. We had to fight incredibly difficult for his medical retirement because there was no way I was going to allow him to put that uniform back on. And he knew he really shouldn't put that uniform back on. And he found out that opportunity. He's like, let's see if I can work details. So he goes to the retirement board and he asks, if he can work details. And they denied him. They said, no, you're medically retired. Like, no, you cannot ever wear the uniform again. And he came home and he sobbed again. It was literally watching someone mourn the death of who he was. I watched him mourn the death of his world as the poster child law enforcement officer for the city of Leominster. Now, meanwhile, he's mourning. I'm mourning. I'm mourning the loss of the man that I married. I'm mourning the loss of the human that I thought I was going to spend the rest of my life with because we had plans. We had big plans. We wanted kids early so we could peace out and then travel the world, right? We had plans. And when some of you, when you engage in a relationship and you're excited about the future and you're excited about what's going to happen and you are making those plans and you are pumped and the ebbs and flows of life go like this, right? But you're always coming back together over time, right? Those of you in a significant long-term relationship, right? You have the ebbs and flows, even friendships, right? Ebbs and flows. But every traumatic event he experienced in his career bumped him, right? People often ask, well, what was that one thing? No, it wasn't one call. It was the second infant, the third infant, the fourth infant call, right? The motor vehicle accidents, right? Ones in which he thought the driver had been killed, right? And the infant screaming in the back, right? It was all of the calls over time that built and built and built and put that weight on his shoulder to that effect that I no longer knew and understood who he was because his experiences on the job changed him so dramatically. Okay. After his mental health break, that man and I were on two totally different trajectories. He reset. His life reset December 14th of 2017. Okay. And so as we continued to build and support our children, as I continued to grow and build my business in his support, with his support, he became a certified coach. We've had a lot of conversations around what does mental health in this field look like? What does it look like? Now we're talking 7 years ago, we had to fight for that medical retirement. And I tell you, there was one person on that board who said, if you had injured your right hand, trigger finger, if you had a heart attack, if you've been shot, maybe I'd consider the medical retirement. A gentleman on that board said that to his face and denied his medical retirement. Okay, we had to fight the city. I have so many details. Long story short, guys, when we are learning how to identify health and wellness in our world, we move from this place of tolerance, and it's interesting. Bigger picture. Let's go bigger picture, right? We've all heard the word tolerant, right? We have to tolerate. We have to build tolerance, like for other people in our, in our society. Other people would be tolerant, right? Tolerant means you can stay over there. Like, I'm going to live my life here. You stay over there. You're there. It's a fine. You can stay there. You're good, right? We're going to be tolerant. Then we move into a spectrum of acceptance. Okay, you don't have to stay over there anymore, but you're not influencing or impacting or having any sort of connection with me in my life. I accept you for who you are. But shouldn't we be moving beyond just acceptance into a space of doing something about it, right? When we're talking about health and wellness, I was floored when I saw that I had 40 people in this room. Pumped that I had 40 people who are choosing to move from acceptance that health and wellness is a thing in this world, in this community, to doing something about it. For that, I celebrate you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being willing to not just accept that shit gets rough out there. Whether you are a chief and you've got 25, 30, whatever years on, or you're brand new, right? And this is your first time attending this conference. Props to you for being willing to take the next step and not just be reactive. Quick little side story here. Audrey, I should have put a picture of Audrey in my, some of you, if you were here last year, you might have met Audrey. Audrey is my mother and my chief admin officer, and she is my rock. Okay? And she uses this cheesiest of metaphors, but I think it works. Not only do we need to be proactive, right? We're proactive because we put the fire detectors, I shouldn't admit this, my house is 18 years old and I never replaced the fire smoke detector. I know, I'm sorry. They are all busted. Those things are like, they needed to come. I've been taken down over the years, right? They're toast. But Audrey uses the concept of using coaching approaches as being that smoke detector. When that starts going off, we have to freaking pay attention, right? It's demanding we are paying attention to it because that freaking beep drives me crazy, right? When that battery goes and just beep. And it's like different, oh yeah.
So I'm wondering if in 48 hours you could address this.
I was on it as soon as
You are my hero. Thank you. Well, all that to say, I guess that means I should move into the next slide. I don't know. What do you think we should move into the next slide? Guys, I have to tell you, and it's just perfect lead in, right? We went from this, where I didn't know what our world was going to look like, right? Oh, there's one more slide, but then I get to the good one. There comes a point where we need to stop pulling people out of the river and we need to go upstream and find out why they're falling in. We can't continue to do the same thing over and over again and just rescue people after they've been in the water drowning, right? I jumped to the Audrey piece, right? We can't just keep doing what we're doing and accepting it, but doing nothing about it. We can't just keep listening to that freaking beep. And so I take them off the ceiling and I take out the battery, and I put them and I hold the faces. Guys, this picture, Oh, here it is. This picture, that guy is right there. And the reason why he is right here is because, I'm going to go back to this in a minute. Look at all those. Is because, I'll go back to those ones in a minute. We have decided, right? I love these pictures because Kevin and I decided about 2 years now, that we were better being the best of friends because I cared for that man during his darkest, deepest, most challenging, most difficult, earth-shattering, life-changing events. And I still love him, but we could not move from caretaker relationship where I was doing everything, seeing our path, seeing our trajectory, and he reset. Okay? So we chose to move on from our marriage and adjust what that relationship looked like. This woman who he is with is Colleen. She is amazing. Try not to get emotional. Because the four of us are incredible human beings who are raising incredible children. CJ's, mine, Colleen's, we are an incredible community that supports each other. Now, the reason why I chose this picture is he was at a concert. Guys, he was in public. He's maintained a full-time job for the last 2 summers. Blows my mind. This man came from a ball of mush on a floor to finding peace in his life, right? To finding the opportunity to be the man that he deserves to be. And I could not be more proud of him. Proud of us, proud of me, proud of our girls, because that smile I thought was gone forever, right? Okay. So I know that was supposed to be the end. I'm going to go back real quickly. I jumped ahead. Because it's not a matter of if. We know it's going to happen. I know we all know it's going to happen. So why, again, continue doing the things that we know are not supporting the people that matter the most to us, right? I think that's the right one. I've been working on this for a freaking long time, guys, so long. ChatGPT, who knew? I typed in a chat, I was like, I need some support with this. Give a man a fish he eats for a day. You've heard this phrase, right? Teach a man to fish he eats for a lifetime. But if you can coach a man to fish, he forges a culture that feeds, villages, and changes generations. Because he is taking ownership, or she, forgive me, right? We are taking ownership for our own space, our own lives, and the own responsibilities, our own decisions, and doing something about it to create a village that supports each other and feeds generations. Does that make sense? A little cheesy, but I've been working on it for, I'm like, coach a man. We gotta coach a man to fish. Okay. I don't have to go into all these details. Coaching works. Coaching is a modality when you take that coach approach by asking powerful questions, by creating the space, by identifying your values. All of these things will increase trust, will help in terms of recruitment, retention, morale, right? We're talking about the challenges in this profession. I've been asking people, what's one thing you could change in your organization? I've heard recruitment, retention, morale, communication. Coaching is the way to do that. So in terms of next steps, I know we're winding down here. I want to give an opportunity for some questions and answers. You are in this room, and again, I celebrate your opportunity to be in this room, and thank you so much for doing that. Further the conversation, I'm hosting a webinar on October 1st, online. If you haven't found me on Facebook or social media, LinkedIn, First Responder Coaching, you can find me. I should have brought in flyers. Come see me at the booth if you want a flyer with more information about my offerings. I'm offering a departmental program, a departmental organizational package to go into departments, embed myself in departments for 5 months, train members of the department, and coach approach, organize webinars, coaching sessions, one-on-ones, group coaching to change the morale of the departments, to help improve communication, to provide support for people who are willing to have difficult conversations, okay? I also offer a full coach certification class, as I mentioned, a 12-week course, and using opportunities to present like this to groups of people, so I can share what Coach Approach is, what it looks like to others. So if you would like any more information, any other thoughts, questions, please scan that sucker. It will bring you to a contact form. Put your name, email address, department. That would be super helpful. Can you guys read that in the back? I don't know if your phone, yeah, you're getting it? Okay. And all that to say, CJ, my firefighter significant other, helped me change my smoke detectors 2 weeks ago. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. He's really tall. He's right up there. All right. The floor is yours. Thoughts, ideas, questions. I'd love to hear any sort of. I see someone in here with an on-site sweatshirt, and my heart is full. What do you guys have for me? Yeah, if you guys send me, yep. So anyone who sends me your name and email address through the contact form, I will mail out the presentation for you. Yep, I have no, absolutely, guys, 100%. I know the IT wasn't there, and I apologize for my initial snafu.
Are there grants or anything that pay for this?
Great.
It's obviously not free. Nothing's free.
So there, if you look into the SAFER grants and I'm sorry, one more louder. AFG grants. There was one other. Where did I have let me get back to you on that, but the answer is yes. There is grant money available for supporting this movement, for sure. Great questions. Anyone else? Thoughts, questions, comments? Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, guys. All right, well, I will stay here. Again, I know we're out a little bit early, but I'll stay in the room. If anyone has anything else, please don't hesitate to ask, okay? Thank you so much for your time, guys. I appreciate you.
Thank you.